Welcome back, my friends. I'm Sean, amateur real estate investor, software engineer, and retired skateboarder.
You look like a 50-year-old retired skateboarder.
And we're going to continue my series today where we take a look back 20 plus years at all my skate parts that I ever created. On the surface, it's pretty shallow. It's just skateboarding and it's just capturing tricks on video. But what I'm hoping to communicate with this series is really about a young man's entire life on film growing up and how your thought process changes, how your mindset evolves, and things that you go through when you're growing up. And I'm kind of lucky that through skateboarding and making skate videos, all of that was captured on video. If you don't care about skate videos, like there should be something entertaining just to watch. So today, to continue the series, this is my first full-length feature skate film I ever directed and produced. It's called Steps. It's a DVD. It was from Eugene, Oregon. The last part we reviewed was released in 2003, so this one dropped in 2005. So let's jump right in and break down 2005 Steps from Eugene, Oregon, produced and directed by me. Drop a comment, tell me where you're watching from, drop a like, and hit the subscribe if you like this type of stuff. So it's story time. I would have been like 21 at the start of filming for this and about 22 by the time it premiered. So by this age, I was starting to feel more like a young adult, less like a teenager. And I was thinking what I need to do is start a board company. So I started this board company called 315. And in retrospect, like everything about it is so like cliche, like early 20s hipster kind of vibe. And I was totally like not self-aware of that at the time. But I think that's largely because there was no social media back then in 2004. And so you couldn't just hop on Instagram and see that like tons of other kids around the world have like the same ideas as you and that you're not that unique and individual. I was trying to think, how do I represent for the Northwest and have it be kind of cryptic? And so I was like trying all these things, and then I was like looking at a compass, and I'm like 315 degrees on a compass points to the Northwest. So I'll call the company 315. I moved to Portland in 2004 and from Eugene after a rocky and pretty unsuccessful community college career. I kind of failed out of community college, and I was like, oh, I'll just work full time and then I'll like do skate videos in all my extra time whenever I'm not at work. And so I just had these like shitty jobs. I was doing tech support in Eugene in a cubicle farm and just on the phone for like, I was doing like 12-hour shifts. I had this perception in my head that like Eugene is like small town shit. I need to like go to Portland. That's like where the real hip shit happens. And I'll be like such a cool dude. And so I bailed on Eugene and I moved to Portland by myself. And I transferred my cubicle farm tech support job up there. And now that I was free from community college, I was like, I'm going to start a skate company. And so I actually like went to Tactics, and this was totally unnecessary. But I like kicked myself off the team. I'm like, look, guys, like for one thing, I don't think I'm a very good skater anymore. I think there's a lot of like younger, better up and coming skaters that you guys should support them. I feel guilty that like other people are unsponsored and they're better than me, like in Eugene. And on top of that, I really want to like try to start a board company. And it's kind of like a conflict of interest. Like, how am I going to fully represent for Tactics Board Shop and like tell people to buy Tactics boards when I'm trying to like sell my own boards? And I just internally felt like that was a conflict of interest. But in Tactics, they all reacted to it like what? Like it was totally unnecessary. Like dude, of course, like you can start your own board brand and still ride for Tactics. Like that was the kind of vibe. But I used to like take myself way too seriously. I thought everything I did had like such big meaning. Like being shop sponsored doesn't really matter that much, and like starting your own brand is not that grandiose. But like my head was full of all these stories of like how World Industries started and how Plan B started and all these like story arcs that were like romanticized that I grew up reading about in the magazines and stuff. And I always thought of myself as like belonging to a part of that. Like, yes, I have a story too. And like I'm part of skateboarding culture. And so then in Portland, like pretty quickly, that whole thing ran its course. I think it was my first time at age 21 It was my first time living fully by myself, not living with roommates. Like I was living with some strangers in a big house, and I just kept to myself. I didn't like interact with there were more adults, but yeah, I had no friends up there, and the job was just an absolute nightmare. The hardest job you can imagine, just like 12-hour shifts in like a concrete box of like endless cubicle farms. And I just had my cubicle and just like no natural daylight, talking to like senior citizens who like don't understand anything you're saying, they can't even like describe what their problem is. It didn't even last a year in Portland there before I was like, I can't do this. Like, and this was coming after years of like I graduated high school in 2001. So it was like 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. After like 4 years and feeling like I was just running on a treadmill in terms of financial, like I didn't know it would be like that. I always thought you could just like get the best job that you could get and work full time and work overtime. And I thought that was enough to like, you could like save for a house if you didn't like spend extravagantly. And I was just fully paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. I was just barely meeting the bills, barely meeting the rent. And whatever was left, I was spending on gas trips in between Eugene and Portland to like see my friends. And I promise this is relevant to the story of this video. I had this full moment of clarity there in Portland. I fucking walked out of my job. I just was like about to have a mental breakdown there. I'm like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I can't do this tech support job. And this was like early fall 2004. I walked out of my job and I just went back to my place in Portland, and I just had this moment like I've never had any time before that in my life of like taking a big step back and like, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, where's my future going? Like, where's this leading me? These jobs that I have, where's this going to take me? What type of future do I really want? What do I need to do to achieve that future? And I just spent probably like 2 full days just in like deep contemplation. And I came to the conclusion, I need to finish college because all these jobs I'm getting without a college degree aren't cutting it with the income, like this paycheck to paycheck shit. So I need to get a college degree, and however long that takes, I need to just like crack down and focus. I can't fail out like I did before. And then I need to like get a serious career. Like I was always interested in, I was already doing web development. Like I made the 315 site and I programmed the Skate Northwest site, but it was like a hobby and I just had fun doing it. And I used to like make games and stuff. But I was like, that's what I need to do. Like computer programming is hot. That's where the money is, but no one will hire me because I have no degree. So I just need to, however long it takes, I need to knock out college and then get a programming job so I can like put this paycheck to paycheck shit behind me. It was like a total nightmare for me to consider like moving back in with my parents. My family's very like low income, and like there's not even really room for me at the houses that we had growing up. Like there was barely room for them in the type of like low income housing that my family had. So like literally I like went back to Eugene and I built with my dad above the attic of this rental. We like got permission from the landlord, and me and my dad renovated this shitty upstairs just above the garage. There was like no floor insulation, just literally like floorboards and a shitty like tiny attic space where you could only stand up in the middle. And we just like finished it out, put the walls on. It got like hella hot in the summer and hella cold in the winter. And I had to like enter through a garage door. So I made huge sacrifices, and I just became focused kind of for the first time in my life about my actual like future, like taking a hold of my future. I got all reflective and I was like, wait, so what does this mean for my skateboarding? I failed out of community college before, and then I knew like what it was going to take to not fail out of college, like what it would take to actually do good. And I'm like, shit, that's going to take like all my time. I'm going to have to like go to school with like most of my time, and all the time I'm not in school, I'm going to have to be doing homework and reading. And I was like, fuck, where does skating fit into that? And I'm like, that's it. I have to, like, my skate career is done, essentially. And that's where this video was born out of, because I reached this point where I was like, man, my skate career is over. Like, it was a good ride. I put everything I had into skating. I only made it to shop sponsored. I never got any real big sponsors. And I guess that's just it. Like, my future needs to take priority. I was like actually literally depressed for a while about it, because like I defined my whole identity around skating, everything about skating. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna let it go, like I can't just like walk away and like go out with a fizzle. Like I need to go out with a bang. Like I need to like put it all down. Like, what's the best fucking shit I can do? I'd already been skating like 10 years. I didn't devote 10 years of my life to just kind of have these mediocre shot parts, which are all the ones we watched before on this series. And so right from this time in 2004, I'm like, that's it. I don't care what it takes. Like, I don't care what filmers I need to meet. Where do I need to go? I'm going to like find my true potential with this shit so I can walk away and like leave it alone for good. I'm going to put everything into this. I met this high school kid, Matt Grubb, and that's how I met Noe Chavez. And they went to the same high school, but I met Matt Grubb first. And at this time, I was like looking for people to offload my skate website, Skate Northwest. I was looking for someone else to take it over. And I actually wanted somebody else to produce this video. Like, we knew all these really good skaters, all these people in this picture, really great skaters. And I knew that we had like a good video on our hands. I'm like, look, if we just collect this footage that we've already been filming in 2004, and then we film for a few more months, we're going to have like such a banging video. And I knew that. But I also was like trying to do this college thing, and I knew how much work goes into making a video. And I was looking for somebody else now to like offload that. And I felt like I had already proved my street cred with the last like 3 skate videos that I helped produce in Eugene and Skate Northwest. I felt like I'd already like paid my dues, and I felt like it was time for me to like mentor younger kids and like show them the ropes and like get them as stoked on like shaping the culture as I was. And so Matt Grubb was a guy who, he was like the only kid who was like expressing interest. He's like, man, I love videography. I love editing. Like, I want to do this shit too. And I love your Skate Northwest site. Like, show me what I need to know. Like, he was really like showing like teachability and interest. And now he's gone on. He was like a media guy. I don't know what his specific role was, but he was like a videographer or editor for the Portland Trailblazers. I don't know if he's still doing that. I got to look up on LinkedIn or something. But so shout out to Matt Grubb. He was involved in this video. And so what happened was the months went on, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months or whatever. And I would check in with him. I'm like, so how's the video coming? How's the video coming? And it was just like, it was not coming together at all. He was like, well, fucking broke my computer. Well, yeah, I don't know. I need to like get footage from this kid, like month after month. And I was trying to like be a mentor and be like, all right, dude, well, like I'm pretty attached to like getting this video part out of mine. So like, what do we need to do to make this happen? And at some point, I just like thought this is not going to happen, and I'm going to do a better job. Like, I have more experience, and nothing against Matt Grubb. Great kid. But at some point I kind of just like stole the video from him. It was like meaning too much to me. I was working too hard for it. And I'm like, man, this is not the thing to have like an inexperienced kid like give his first shot at a video to. I know how to make videos. Like, that's it. I'm just going to do it. And so I ended up like talking to everyone who had footage and just saying, look, send your footage to me. We're doing this. Like, Matt's not doing the video anymore. Like let's make it happen. And he was like super bummed about that. And I just told him like how it was straight up. And he was like fucking bummed. And I think he probably was really mad at me for a while, but I think we got over that. Like, I've run into him on the street since then, and things were chill, and he's a cool dude. There's nothing against him at all. I just like, this meant too much to me at that phase of my life. And I just like kind of stole the video. And so that's how this came about. And I just sat there and like autistically edited this for like a couple weeks straight or something, or a month straight. And then we premiered it at the Bijou Art Cinema in Eugene. And it was a huge sold out premiere. There was like people standing in the aisles, no seats, and like kids fucking loved it. There was like cheering, and it was a really great memory. So that's what this is about. And the title Steps, I already, from like my hipster music influence, I always thought like when you came up with like one word album titles, I always thought that was way cooler than like some long, overly meaningful name. So I just tried to keep it really simple, I'm like, what is like a single word that like has a double meaning of like life philosophy, but also skateboarding? And I thought, well, skateboarding, like we're always jumping down stairs and steps, and that's like a good metaphor for life. I was thinking about it, how when you learn skating, it's like you learn how to kickflip a 3, and you learn how to kickflip a 5, and then you kickflip a 7. And that's like one measuring bar that we're always like pushing ourselves by. And so steps, it was supposed to be a very deliberate, like philosophical call out of like pushing yourself and doing your best and like go up the steps in life. But you know, this thing was really important to me. I never was on a sports team. I never had a homecoming football game or anything. Like this was my state championship football game. This was my homecoming game. Like this was everything to me as a 22-year-old boy. So let's jump right in, boys. I got to come right out and say this video would never be possible without Daniel Evans. I was kind of not really aware of him till I saw him filming with GL2, because these were like little high school kids, like freshmen in high school or something. And I was like, you know, out of high school, 20 or something, whenever I first met him. But I saw him filming with a GL2 one day. I was just like, I see you trying hard to get good shots with a good camera. Like, you're the guy I need to get with. And like, if you don't know something about filming, I'll just show you. Like, let's hook up. What's the deal? Like, let's film together. And it was the birth of an incredible partnership where he was trying to be a better skate filmer. I was trying to be a better skater. And we were both trying to produce something cool. And we both had like the vision to do it. And so like 99% of the clips in this part are filmed by Daniel Evans. And it's the beginning of, I would say, a lifelong friendship. I hope, at least. We're still friends now. Yeah, just this whole project, it would not have come together without Daniel Evans. And I largely, when I see this Steps video, in my mind, I just associate that as like the Sean and Daniel show. Like, that's really what this was. This was the Sean and Daniel project that we came together, and he put in the dedication. Like, I recognize it's not easy being a skate filmer. Like, you're out here in the sun, you're dealing with these skaters' egos, you got to sit there for like 50 tries while they do this shit. And I recognize that's not easy, and it takes, to do it right, you know, you have to be just as dedicated as the guy in front of the lens doing the skating. You got to be dedicated, whatever it takes to make it happen. So he was like a junior or senior in high school by this time, and I was like well out of high school, like a young adult, like, you know, paying rent and bills on my own and working full time. And I would literally be like driving right out of work or college to go to the North Eugene High School. And I'd be like picking up Daniel to film, like fresh out of his school day, as if I was a parent or something. And in the early days, I think I gave him a lot of mentorship in terms of like, oh, why don't we try this angle? Or why don't you shoot it like this? Or like, no, dude, you need to be like closer with the fisheye, or you should move it this way. I definitely think I was, if not mentoring, if not a little bit maybe too pushy. I don't know. We'll have to ask Daniel that. Maybe I'll get him on here. And so Daniel would go on to film with all sorts of companies and different pro skaters. And he's been in all kinds of pro and amateur projects since then. And so I don't want to give myself too much credit, but I think he really got his start in being a skate filmer with this video. It's not that he wasn't filming before, but like, I think this, you know, this video is called Steps. I think this was a step up for him in filming. All right, let's talk about the song that you're not hearing. Every part in the series, I think this is what, my 5th part, going back to the mid-90s. And every part I'm building off of what I learned before. So you should notice that this is a big step up in the editing. Like, the quality of editing is a lot more engaging, I think. The filming is way better. And I was building off all the lessons I learned. So I learned on the last ones kind of what genres of music work and don't work. When I wasn't listening to hardcore music, I was into this dance rock shit. Like 3/4 of the way filming through this, I joined a band. I was in a band called Aerodrone, and it was like disco, like synth-based rock. And it was just fully like some hipster shit. I'm building off all the lessons of all those other parts. Like, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't have too dramatic of a song. It needs to be like fast-paced it has to have like a high energy level. So I was thinking, pick a song that like people can dance to. This song, The Bravery, this was like their biggest hit. And this dropped like exactly when I was going to do this edit. It was literally just like trend riding of like, what is the trendiest thing that has like the high energy, like the dance stuff that like the mainstream might not know about yet, but what's the hippest thing that like hipsters know about and are dancing to. And I would say it's aged okay. I would say still to this day, I think a lot of people haven't heard it. So in that sense, it's kind of good. It's not like too played out. But if you have heard of it, it's very dated. Like it instantly dates you into the 2004, 2005. So let's talk about these outfits. Yeah, at this time, if you weren't around back then, what was hot in like the hipster community was like the tightest fucking girl jeans possible that you can wear. And so that's what I was rocking here. Like I don't think I have one pair of guys' clothes on in this whole part. I think these were all girls' clothes. And I think the reason was what was trending back then was like mainstream, like fast fashion. It was always like 5 or 6 years behind the cutting edge of like hipster fashion and like street fashion. And so I think at the time, like what was in with mainstream fast fashion was like baggy, sagging, baggy, bootcut jeans, which I thought for one thing, they were like really impractical to skate in. They're just like flopping all over the place, and the bottoms would like get caught under your skate shoes, and you would see people with like the super frayed up bottoms of their jeans, and it just felt really impractical, and you couldn't move in them very well. And so like I wanted to look like a rock star. I wanted to look like a front man of a band or something, and you just could not find guys' jeans that were like that. I mean, your only option was like the 501 jeans, but those had no stretch in them, and I felt like those were way too restrictive. And so like right at this time, the girls' jeans started dropping with like all the spandex stretch in them, and you could totally move in them. They were just fully stretchy like yoga pants. I was a poor boy living in my parents' attic, and I couldn't even spend money on clothes. So like all these fits really are goodwill. All right, now we'll go trick for trick on the actual skating breakdown. This is the one that got away. We came back like, it must have been at least 3 times, and I got as close as you can get without riding away. So this is the one trick that I couldn't get. This is the one that got away. That was like a million tries, so that's my reaction there. I was just like so burnt. I'm like, I can't believe I can't get it. Like I put in time for that. I didn't want to just hit the most well-known spots. I was always trying to find the most back alley stuff that other people might have passed over. And this gap's pretty big. It's like a 5-stair with a 8 feet of sidewalk in front of it. This is the same day on my ender. I did a 360 flip on a roof gap. We'll get to that at the end, but I think this is right after, and I was just like so pumped up from getting that banger that I felt invincible, and I just like never wanted the day to end. And I was with Pat Moran, who was also a really great skater. Everyone I skated with during making this video was a really great skater, and that's also a big thing that pushed me. And one thing I noticed about this part is I'm just like smiling so much. Like this was honestly a really good time in my life. Like even though there was all those challenges I was talking about, like just the fact that I was like achieved some level of street cred in a community of skateboarding, and I spent the majority of my time, see me smiling there, spent the majority of my time with my friends, like doing all the things I loved, music, being in a band, and skateboarding with talented people and getting clips, and feeling like I was right where I should be, basically. Like that feeling of when you're like in a community and you're doing what you want and you're getting reciprocation for doing what you like, you're getting positive feedback for it. Like I was in that zone in life, and to this day, you know, it's been 20 years since then. Like it's been very rare where these things have aligned to where life feels like that. I was gonna try to wear the bin and not see anything, but that didn't work out. Did this nollie flip, and we used to bring this box around. I don't even know whose box that was. Can't remember. Across the grate. This is one of my favorite skate spots, really. Got a little crowd watching me, some kids. A little kickflip into the downhill. I don't know whose flat bar this was either, but this was all my idea to set up this line. Back lip. Feeling like John Alley or something. But it's really just a flat bar. Like that doesn't fly. In 2004 that would fly, and that was like on the highest setting of the flat bar, so like I thought it was valid. But this doesn't fly anymore in 2024. You can't bring a flat bar to the spot. This is a contest, and this is best trick on the double set. I just was trying to pull out everything I had, and I tried the switch frontside flip. Worked out perfectly with the helmet. Got the hipster emo close, pretty clean. Got the applause from the crowd on that one. All right, this is out in meadow view, out in front. I was always thinking in terms of doing lines. I was always trying to get lines, and switch tail is a pretty new trick I had at this point. So I just did that weird backside flip up, and I was really just trying to link together a switch tail. I was so bad. Look, it's not even on my feet. I just like fell out of it and bobbled it to the curb drop. And then I didn't have this tray flip planned. I just threw it all quick. Casual. The Benny at Caliang, pretty good height. I knew Benihanas were not a cool trick at this time, but I always liked them. I thought it was just like fun, and they already weren't a cool trick even back then. And you'd get like made fun of for doing them. But I just always loved them and thought it was just for fun. So I was throwing bennies wherever I could. Same day, got a switch crook on the high box. I wanted to be known for like popping high, so I was always looking for high things to grind. Hit the switch crook on the narrow ass board. It's like a 7.5 or something. Not very clean. This is the same day too, down the street from Caliang. Pretty nice gap. Nice pop. Good catch. And this was like, when I made this part, I think I was thinking pretty strategically, like, okay, what type of tricks do I have? What type of tricks do I need to do? And I was like super influenced by Reynolds, and I was like, I need to have more like flip tricks down stuff. So this was really not comfortable for me. I was literally just trying to get a clip of something that I didn't have. So I was trying to do this kickflip. Switch nose grind on the tall box with the flashy editing. This right here is just like emblematic to me of like 2004 and this time, like the way that I remember it. Like nighttime at the 10 stair, late at night in the summertime, and I've got like a full head to toe punk rock outfit, and I'm just like going fast doing the punk rock boneless. And I had those like every try. That was never hard for me. I could boneless. If I could get enough speed to clear something, I could boneless anything. It's probably still the case now, but I don't even skate now. I definitely was aware that like people could talk shit about some of these tricks like bonelesses and Benihanas. And you can just already see me smiling there. Like, I don't care. I wanted to get out there and have fun and do my best stuff. This thing too, 5 stair at Churchill, nollie back heel. It's like I never even kick flipped or pop shoved it. I never did any flip tricks on this set. But it was one of those things, I felt like I had it one day, and I felt like I needed more flip tricks. And it's too bad the footage is so shitty. I don't think this was filmed on the VX. This was on a shittier camera, I think. And that was just a random day. I just rifled it off perfect. Clean landing. And this is just behind some loading dock that's not even a skate spot. But like I said, I was always trying to find off the beaten path. I was trying to find like back alley spots throughout all this. And this dumpster, there's a spot that's like this wide. It's like barely wider than your wheels that you can ride on. And then there was some kind of metal lid on the side of the lid to where there's only this narrow of a spot you could ride down. So that's what's going on here. You can kind of see that lid there. I was just trying to hold a manual. You could get pretty fucked up doing that if you caught an edge or you put the manual down too soon. Like, you could eat shit off the end of this. So I just held it, this narrow little manual off the end. This I'm beaming the whole time. I think I had done this a bunch just in when we weren't filming, just on skate days at this Willamette Lane skate park. If you added up all the hours that I've logged at any given skate park in the world, like this is, I guess you would call this my home skate park, because like I'm sure I'm in the like 1,000 hours plus deep on this Willamette Lane skate park. I clocked some serious time there, but I think in some of those sessions I got so comfortable doing some flip tricks that I always did up this, that I would sometimes just like stare at people. I would tray flip and not look at my board. I'd stare at people, and so I tried to get this on video, but I think I had already done it. I think I also did it with my hands in my pockets before. So didn't look at the board once. Just too comfortable staring at the camera. It's pretty funny. I think it'd be fun to film like a whole part like that. Look at how ridiculous that is. Staring right into the lens. I got that from Jeff Rowley. He had 2 clips. I think he did like nose blunt at like the UC Davis ledge or something. And before he even lands, he's like barely landing, and he doesn't look at his board. He stares into the camera, and he had a beanie on, and that clip just made a huge impression. Like that's the entire reason I was doing this, really, was because of that Jeff Rowley clip. I thought he was just like the ultimate badass, and I wanted to be like that. This was like my secret spot. I would always show people the spot, and they never knew it was here. You have to like hop a fence and go all the way around this giant warehouse facility to get to here. And there's a nollie flip, caught it, landed it. This is Churchill Skate Park. It's just all transition. I personally hated this park. I was never a transition skater. I never learned the right way to skate this park. So every time I was here, I just tried to make a joke out of it and do weird things because I couldn't do proper transition skating. So you can see I'm already got the smile going, got the punk fit, and we just did this big surf layback up around the whole thing. As we got towards the last few months of filming this, I got into it was like Frank Castanet, filming with Daniel Evans, and then Frank Castanet and me. We definitely put in a lot of work there in these last few months, trying to get it all in. And Frank was a really dope skater. Anytime I saw a construction site, I would always trespass and try to like rig up something to skate. And so there's this construction site in West Eugene. This is right across from the Conger Banks and whatever they call that red loading dock gap that's pretty famous in Eugene. It's directly across the street from that. And Frank was doing shit that day, and I built this ramp to ramp, and I hit this tray flip. Nice catch there, pretty Kalis style. This is the same day. This is a giant like water tank, like a commercial water tank, and who knows if this used to store like shit in it, if this was like septic or what this was used for. But there's a manhole access like just big enough to crawl in. And so Daniel's filming at the entrance of the thing, and I tried to do this jump. You can see it's not going to work out there. Lost it, but I'm already smiling. The moment I'm on the ground, I'm already smiling because I love the shit. My push style improved a lot. I think I look pretty good on a board by now after all those past parts. Pretty solid push. And trying to link together lines. And I had this trick really good. I still have that trick, but I did drag the toe there because my boards were so narrow. Big long board slide. This was a spot for a while, and this was built in like 2001 under the Ferry Street Bridge, and it was a spot for a while, but it got kind of destroyed by BMXing, and it became really a homeless spot. So it didn't remain a spot for too long, but I tried to do my longest board slide possible. 1 section, 2 section, almost 3 sections, and pop out to fakie. Big exaggerated motion after. That's the day I was frustrated that I couldn't do the tail slide flip out. Then to U of O, I got these vinyl benches kind of hidden off in one of these courtyards off to the side. Behind me is a popular skate spot, but no one really skates this bench very much. And I backtailed the whole thing. It's harder than it looks on video. If you go there, it's pretty long. I don't know if it's still even there, but there's a crack in the ground. It's long, and you got to go fast with no run up. So it's harder than it looks. I used to have classes right on the other side of those windows. Springfield Park, ollie on, switch grind down. Board slide again. I was trying to do funny tricks. I was trying to entertain people. I was trying to be a performer. Board slide down the whole thing. That's tough. You got to like manual off the end of this curb drop if you hit that curb. Big old ollie at Marist High School in Eugene. First try. I was really confident with my ollies, and I was like, I think I was talking shit on this one. There's this big ass gap, and I was like, no, watch, I'll go now. Like, let's fucking go. I'm gonna do it first try. Like, just sit right here. I'm gonna film this. And I went down that hallway and I just charged it. First tee over this long gap plus the bench. This is behind Albertsons in Eugene on Coburg Road. And we pulled out, this is like a break bench for the workers there, with my girl jeans and my thrifted navy shirt, basic training kind of shirt. And I just rifled off all the tricks I could do. And I'm on a 315 board on this one. This is all in a line. I did like back 5-0, front 5-0, rifled off a bunch of tricks. This, to this day, this is one of my favorite tricks in this part, if not one of my favorite tricks I've ever done and filmed. Back 50. I never saw anybody hit the spot, and it's like a California style, business park style spot, but everything is really rough because of it being Eugene. And so there's like, it's a big like fake out spot. You drive up to it and you think, oh, this looks so sick, but then you go up there and there's like nothing to skate. There's like nothing you can really hit to skate. And so I tried really hard to make the spot work. So at this one, I just charged it and ollied out of this bank onto this somewhat tall ledge, and there's like a head high drop on behind my back there, just to the other side. So like you could get fucking folded if you didn't get this right. Like if you locked up wrong and if your heels shot out, you could totally like backflip over onto your neck and like drop off this like big drop off. But I was really confident with back 50s. You have to have enough speed left over off of the grind to clear this last little gap. And there's that like light pole there. And then immediately when you land into the curb drop. So this is like, that's like January 2005. This is like in the middle of winter. It was really cold out too. Holt Center. Like I was saying, I could boneless anything, but I thought boneless wasn't good enough on an 8 if I already did it on a 10. So I tried to throw it into a 180. Which I got. I also ate shit on it too. This is, they just built this Walmart. They just freshly built this like a couple months before this clip. And so everything was brand new out here. So me and Frank Castanet and Daniel filmed this. And this is the same day as this cover photo here. This was like my tightest girl jeans with white shoes with like a white hipster belt. And then this like extra small band shirt that was pink, and I just like thrifted it. I didn't even know what the band was. The fluffy, I had like a bleached out spot in my hair, trying to draw attention, I guess is what it was. Cal Young, switch frontside flip over, nailed it. Me and Frank were skating this. Got the frontside flip, boys. Nailed it. I saw Noe skate this gap. I know he kick flipped it, and I think he frontside flipped it too. I don't know if he did it before me, and that's where I got the idea, or if he did it after me, but I don't actually remember who filmed this, but it's no joke. There's like a 40-foot drop right there, but there's some big like rhododendron bushes, so you wouldn't die. If you caught a rock and you fell into that little thing, you wouldn't die. You'd go in the rhododendron bush and it would be okay. It's not like it was like a spike pit or like or cement or anything. It's just dirt and rhododendron bushes. And the gap is really small. You have to go over, this is like a curb right here. This is like the size of a curb, and you have to pop early. So it's a little bigger than it looks. I'd say it's probably the size of like an 8 stair. It's probably like an 8 stair or something, going over the curb. And I think I was still in that mode, like I was saying, I was trying to get flip tricks. That's a 315 deck that I was skating there. Launching it, landing, look at that, I'm like 4 feet past it, so no risk of not clearing the gap at all, but I just kind of exploded onto that one. And just to the left right here, if you don't steer the right way, or if you get wheel bite or something, there's the potential to also, you could fall off to the left here. So I was going into a safety roll, and then I got back up and did it. Kind of mob, a little bit mob. That would have been a good photo if I had a photographer there that day. Looks like, I think this is also in winter, late winter, in the sunset. Caught it, floated it, boom, no hands. I was already spotting right here, I'm already looking at that rain gutter over here, and I'm trying to gauge if I can make it or not. And instantly was already calculating that I couldn't make it. I didn't want to ride off the end and eat shit, so it looks really dangerous, but it was totally calculated, like I had it under control. So I ride off, take the one step, throw the board out to get the board out of the way. I took the one step, hopped off the roof, and that's like a 10-foot drop to grass. So I did a drop and roll. I didn't get hurt or anything. And to bring this video to a close, here you have it, my friends. This is my all-time skate career. I think this is my number one in terms of just technical skating. I think this is my number one clip. I got the tray flip it's called the Opportunity Center school in South Eugene. Let's watch it a couple times. Tray flip. And in my opinion, this could have gone in any video. This could go in a pro video at the time, a 2004 video. We had Pat Moran and Daniel, and I think Daniel was not confident in his ability to like scale a fence and a drain pipe to get on this part of the roof. He passed the VX 2000 and Death Lens up to Pat. And so Pat filmed this. Thanks, Pat, for the patience. As I remembered, I think this took a while. I think this took a lot of tries. I don't think I was the first person to jump it. But I'm trying to think. I don't think I saw anything but a ollie. I don't know who else might have hit it. I think somebody did something, but too much time has passed. I can't remember. Everybody loves it in skateboarding. Like when you own a spot, or like when you get a trick that's like etched in the history of that particular spot. And this is one of the few times in my skate career where I like owned the spot, or my name belongs to this spot. And so that's a good feeling. It's a big gap. It's hard to ollie. You don't have enough runway. Like you would want to have twice as much runway just to pop a ollie on that. What I like about it is it gives you the feeling and the visual of being like way up in the air on a big ass crazy roof gap. But when you're actually skating it, again, like that last roof gap clip, there's no risk of like actually dying. Like, cause this second roof that you're going to down here is only like maybe shoulder high. It's like chest high or shoulder high. So this entire drop is only 5 or 6 feet. So you're not gonna die if you hit a rock right here and you front flipped over the gap. Like it would be a bad wreck. Like you could belly flop or back flop on the lower roof here, but you're at least not gonna die. But when you're up there, it's scary enough. It gives you the feel of like you're way up there. So where you start back here at the beginning, you have to throw your board down. Like you won't get enough speed from just pushing. You have to actually run and throw the board down. And so where you start here, like right on the other side of my feet in this shot here, can we zoom in? Right on the other side of my feet here, there's like a 40-foot drop to a asphalt parking lot. And so if you like misstepped at the beginning, if you had a false step or you just like slipped for whatever reason, like it is kind of risky. I was trying to maximize every single inch of push up. And so I would literally like hang my heel over the edge of the building, like right on the ball of my feet, just to get the absolute maximum run at this, because you couldn't go as fast as you wanted to. I wanted to go way faster. And that's kind of why when I do the trick, you see me kind of, I throw it and then see my feet are like reaching. Like you should be more centered over the board to do this, but my feet are like reaching out in front because you could just barely get enough speed, I felt like, to get past it. So you see the posture of my feet there. I'm like reaching forward to clear the gap. And then even when I land there, you see how my butt is still behind the board. That's because I was like reaching to even clear the gap. And the asphalt shingles, they're really mushy. So I had this bobble. I'm just making excuses now, but so I had a quick little bobble when I land because like you would like sink in a little bit mushy. And it was like hard to like ride the rodeo bull and stay on balance there. So I did have a little bounce. So it could have been cleaner. And right here, if it was any other trick, I would have stepped off or rolled off because my balance is all weird. Like you see my posture, I'm like, whoa. But I was trying so hard to hang on to it. Like I knew this was going to be my banger, my ender for this part. So I just powered through. I just stood up, rode it out. And then that ride away felt so good. I got like the Heath Kirchart, the limp arm thing. And that ride away felt so good. I wanted to just ride it out forever. I just rode all the way down to the very end of that roof. Because, that was one of the best feeling things I ever did in my life to this day. I ollied it. I was throwing out the frontside flip. I decided that wouldn't work. Like the only other thing I remotely had, backside flip would be too hard because you're going blind. The only other thing I possibly had was a tray flip. And I thought that sounded ridiculous, but I was like throwing it out. I was getting to like this point right here right away. I was just throwing it out and then kicking it out and rolling and eating shit on this roof. And this roof is like a gnarly cheese grater surface. So I was bleeding everywhere. My arm was bleeding. My wrist was bleeding. My knee was bleeding through the jeans. I ripped the jeans open and the asphalt particles were like stuck in the wounds and stuff. The very best effort you can give to try your very hardest trick on your very hardest obstacle. This was like one of those times for me. It's that rare moment where everything worked out and everything lined up and I actually got it. And that's it. I think this one went hard during the premiere. I don't actually remember the premiere very much because I was like so anxious. Like this was like my baby that I spent a year on. And I poured my complete, every bit of my soul into this, producing this video and into the organizing the premiere. And I was just like in so much anxiety at the premiere of like hoping that I would be accepted and hoping that people liked it and hoping that it was good enough. And even though I thought it was good enough, there's still just like that thrill, that anxiety and adrenaline roller coaster of like sharing what you've been working on for a whole year in front of like everybody in your town who possibly matters to see it. And so I couldn't even watch at the main theater with everybody down there. I had to like go up in the balcony and it was just like me and Daniel in the projector balcony. And I can't remember what we said to each other or like how we reacted. Like I remember looking over and like seeing him there and like I was so hyped up on adrenaline and anxiety during this premiere that I can't even remember the individual tricks or like how it went. But I think this one went hard at the premiere. I think people liked it. So to wrap it all up, to put this one to bed, this is a very pivotal time in my life. This one stands out a lot for me more than all the other ones in the series so far. All the previous ones we did in the series so far, I think of when I look back on them, I think of them as like little kid shit. Like, oh, look, I was a little kid on the streets. I was like finding my way and like growing up on the streets. Whereas this one is the first one where I think of like, wow, I was like dealing with young adult lifehood shit with like setting up for my future and trying to like support myself and navigating that and going to college. And then on top of that, like recognizing that like this era of my life, like the kid era of like just being a skate kid that could just skate 24/7, like that time of my life was over. So I am proud of this video and this part just because this took like a monumental amount of effort to get this together, to get the filming together, to do this shit. Like it takes 10 years of skating like before you can get this good to do tricks like this. And then like the effort of arranging the premiere and everything that went into it and why I was doing it. It was like really meaningful. Everything we were doing here was like meaningful for me at this time. And I pulled on all of that to like create this movie. And in retrospect, now 20 years, like nobody gives a shit about what you do. Like nobody cares. Like if this was Instagram, this would have been forgotten like a week later and just buried. And to this day, I'm sure most people have forgotten it. And only 200 copies of the video were made. And so only even like a few hundred people were ever like impacted by this or ever really saw it, I think. So in the grand scheme of things, it's like not a big deal at all. But on the personal level, I just remember how much it meant to me. This was a necessary step I had to do to like become the next version of me. Is I had to put in that effort and create something like this in order to like move on to the next things that I did in life. And so I hope you tune back in. This is not the last one in the series. Like I was making parts for 10 more years after this. So there's a lot more in the series to review, and I think a lot better. I think we're going to get into a lot better like life philosophy stories as we get into these later parts where I'm more of an adult. Because, your brain's not even formed until you're 25. So I was like 22. So still didn't even have a fully formed brain when I did this shit. But that's Steps 2005. Thanks for watching this review, and come on back because, we're going to have some more where we get into my adult, more grown-up skating. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.